The title of today's episode consists of 2 words and can be interpreted in 2 different ways, depending on which word you emphasize. Age Matters deals with matters pertaining to the age of your Filipina partner. And the fact that most foreigners moving to the Philippines to find love have a particular age group in mind indicates that age matters. I therefore divided Filipina women into 3 age groups: young, mature, and postmenopausal. In this episode we will look at the advantages and disadvantages of each category in order to help newcomers work out which category matches their desires. Let's dig into these age matters by explaining the age limits I attributed to the different categories. The category young starts at the age of consent and ends at 34. As of 35, I call them mature, until they reach the age of 49. Everyone over 50 falls into the postmenopausal category, although I realize that this is just a figure. There are women who stop menstruating before they reach the age of 50, and others who still menstruate when they are long past that age. But we have to draw the line somewhere, so when I refer to postmenopausal women, I'm talking about everyone who is over 50. Okay, so let's get this show on the road and focus on the first category, young women. We will first look at the pros of dating women between 18 and 34. Because of their young age and limited life experience, their characters may still be moldable. Let's not fool ourselves, the character of a person forms before the age of 18. But it is much more flexible at a younger age, so you may still be able to influence their way of thinking and behaving. Filipinas are brought up with a high level of respect for the elderly. When such a girl enters into a relationship with a retired foreigner, who may be 30 or 40 years her senior, she will initially show a lot of respect. For some of them this may last, while others may become less respectful as they get to know you better. And most of the time, that is not your fault. Familiarity breeds contempt is a saying that you should take quite seriously in the Philippines. The moment they share your bed and live in your house, they may develop a form of entitlement. They are now the lady of the house, and they act that way. If you are looking for a submissive partner, move to another country, because Filipinas are not submissive. And here's another advantage. If you are a retiree who detects his first performance problems when sleeping with a same-age woman, the young body and tight skin of these young women that keeps their attributes firmly in place may work as an aphrodisiac and postpone your dependency on these little blue pills with a couple of years. Different men may prefer different age categories for different reasons, and that's just fine. But any man who claims that he doesn't get more aroused by a young girl than by a postmenopausal woman is either lying to you or to himself. The larger the age gap, the longer you may expect your Filipina to be around, and, unless something terrible happens, you will be the first one to cash in your chips. That being the case, when you become old and needy, she will still be strong enough to take care of you. This kind of sums up the advantages of being with a young Filipina, although I'm sure you can think of more, and you are welcome to share them in the comments section. But let's first examine the disadvantages. We will not only talk about the disadvantages for you, but also for your Filipina. You get a kick from young women, right? Well, here's a newsflash. They get a kick from young guys too. Does that surprise you? We are not going to get into what attracts young Filipinas to older Westerners, because that will be the subject of another episode. But I think it is safe to assume that if Filipina women were as financially independent as their counterparts in the West, we wouldn't stand the ghost of a chance with these babes. So keeping them on the straight and narrow may become a challenge at some point. If you have a 30 or 40 year age gap, you may expect your joystick to become floppy when she is at an age when she still enjoys dipping the sausage. And it will become challenging for her to stay faithful. Now, I realize that I will get some comments pointing out that there is medication to help put the joy back into your stick, and that penile penetration is not the only way to satisfy a woman. I'm fully aware of that, and in the episode Grandpa's Bedroom Secrets, I will go deeper, pun intended, into this subject. But for now, I just want to keep you dangling. Okay. I just want to keep you in suspense for the content of that episode. Suffice it to say that this may become an issue and could be one of the cons of dating with such an age gap. Another disadvantage, and then I'm mainly thinking in the interest of the girl, is that she is condemned to young widowhood. If you are 40 years older, and knowing that women live, let's say, 10 years longer than men, she still has half a century to go on this planet when you are already playing Catch Me If You Can with the angels. Unless, of course, you are having barbecue with the devil. If you are really wealthy, you can make provisions for her, hoping that she won't spend it all in the first year for lack of foresight, which is very common in Filipinas. But if you are basically living off your social security, she may fall back into poverty after you got her used to the good life. If you really love her, you should give that matter some serious thought. One of the most important cons of dating young Filipinas is their lack of maturity. When I married my ex-Filipina wife, I was 41 and she was 26. 15 years is a relatively small age gap compared to what you see on the streets of, say, Dumaguete. I was a mature man at the height of my career, and she was, putting it mildly, less than mature. Don't expect a 20-something Filipina to have the same level of maturity as a Western girl of the same age. She doesn't. As always, there will be exceptions, but generally speaking, she doesn't. Finding a common ground of conversation may be difficult as you grew up in totally different eras. Discussing things that you would normally discuss with your buddies may be problematic. And that works both ways. She will be into things that are beyond your palette of interest. If your relationship is merely based on bling bling and boom boom, it won't last. Any relationship craves for substance. Hey, You are still watching. Does that mean you like this video? Because if you do, why not give me a thumbs up? Or even better, subscribe if you haven't done so already. You know it is free. And if you'd like to share your thoughts or experiences, that's what the comment section is for. But please keep it constructive. And now, without further ado, I will let you continue watching. I have spent a lot of time on this first category because I know that this is typically the pond in which most foreign retirees go fishing. Let's see what I can come up with when discussing these two other categories. If you are in your 60s or 70s and you go for a mature woman, which we have defined as a woman between 35 and 49, you still have a 20 to 35 year age gap. Not bad, is it? You may forget about that in the West, unless you are royalty, a movie star, or a captain of industry. Here in the Philippines it is not a problem, and many women in that age bracket are still quite sexy. Probably the biggest advantage I see here is that you no longer have to put up with childish behavior. These women know what life is all about. They had a life before you, and they have experience, yes, with that too, but I mean life experience in general. They will be easier to have serious conversations with. They are still young enough to take care of you when your health deteriorates, and are more likely to sit out the show until you take your final bow. That brings us to postmenopausal women. They may not look as appealing as they did in their 20s, but I could show you a few who have been very well maintained and still make some heads turn. And honestly, if you are in your 60s or 70s, have you looked into the mirror lately? Few of us still match the looks of, say, George Clooney. A postmenopausal woman comes with heaps of life experience. They have been through the good and the bad. Most of them have raised children who are now grown up, working, and not your responsibility. They are either single and have never been married, they are separated, or they are widowed. They have survived natural disasters such as super typhoons, flash floods, landslides, earthquakes, you name it. The Philippines have them all. They have seen life at its worst. They have experienced sickness and lost loved ones. They know what hurt feels like, and they became stronger because of it. Postmenopausal Filipinas are perfectly aware of the fact that the majority of foreign retirees fish in the young women pond, and know but too well that their market value follows the same downward curve as that of a diesel-powered car in a low-emission zone. Therefore, they will make more of an effort to keep you happy, and even when the day comes that your superpowers in the bedroom wear off, they are more likely to stay faithful. These women have had half a century or more to get to know the value of money, and have often lost interest in trivial things such as branded clothes and designer handbags. Through the good and bad years, they have found out what really matters in life. A disadvantage of postmenopausal women is that they are at an age where some physical inconveniences may start popping up. So you may be spending some more money on eyeglasses, dental work, checkups, or even surgeries. and where women in the young and mature categories are almost certain to outlive you, this may not always be the case with postmenopausal women, even if they are years younger than you. But I don't think that should scare you off. We all embark on the voyage of life without knowing when we will reach our port of destination. I hope this episode of Ormoc Revisited has given you some more insight into the pros and cons of dating women of different age groups, and helped you to make up your mind which category suits you best. Regardless the age group, before moving in together, always ask your Filipina to apply for 3 official documents: Senomar, Barangay Clearance, and NBI Clearance. Senomar stands for Certificate of No Marriage. It is only issued to someone who has never been married, whose marriage has been officially annulled, divorce doesn't exist in the Philippines, or to a widow. Why is it so important that she shows you her Senomar? Because in the Philippines, adultery is still punishable by jail time. And believe me, you don't want to see the inside of a Philippine prison. Even if your Filipina and her husband have been separated for decades, when he hears that the woman who is still officially his wife is in a relationship with a foreigner, he will very likely want a piece of the cake and try to extort you, failing which he will report you to the authorities, and not only you, but also your Filipina, will be arrested and charged with adultery. No matter how much you love your Filipina, if she fails to produce a Senomar, or if she confesses to you that she is still legally married, abort mission. You really don't want to go through that kind of misery. Barangay Clearance is a document that proves that she has no pending issues within her local community. And NBI Clearance, NBI stands for National Bureau of Investigation, equal to the American FBI, proves that she has no criminal record on any Philippine island. She may put up a fight and accuse you of not trusting her. Don't let that soften you. You are standing at the edge of a very important commitment, so it's better to bite through the sour apple now than to have regrets later. As the saying goes, better safe than sorry. Good luck. If you like watching Ormoc Revisited, you may also fancy my other series, 7 Amazing Tales of the Philippines and the Expat Files. Or maybe you are more interested in my videos about Europe. You can find all of these on Homebase Belgium. Be happy, stay healthy, and enjoy life.